Hey guys, it's Raul again, and today I'll be sharing with you the books that I read for fun between January and May. So I'm lumping all of the books that I read outside of my required school readings all into this one video because it's between January and May. It was obviously I was in school, I was reading so many other things for school. I'll link the videos that I did for all of these things that I read for school down below. But I still somehow managed to read some books for fun during the semester. Most of these were on audiobook. So that's why it was easy for me to kind of listen to on my commute to school and work and back. I'm going to go ahead and share those with you guys today. The first book that I read for fun was sent to me by the publisher, and that was Pretty Dead Girls by Monica Murphy. And this is a young adult kind of slasher type book that follows our main characters who are kind of trying to escape this killer, and they're killing off this group of girls. It's kind of like the mean girls, so they're the popular girls in school. They have this club that they've kind of put together in school, and eventually a couple of years later all of the girls start getting kind of slowly killed off, and the surviving girls are trying to figure out who's killing off this group of girls, what's going on, and I just thought it was really fun. Definitely wasn't a groundbreaking book, but I myself absolutely love slasher movies, so when I was presented with the opportunity to read a book that felt kind of like a slasher movie, I definitely jumped on it, and I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it like a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, it wasn't anything groundbreaking, the writing wasn't anything like super beautiful or elaborate or anything, but it was definitely fun. It definitely kept my attention throughout the entire thing, and I ended up kind of really enjoying this one a lot more than I thought I was going to. After that, I read Want by Cindy Pan, and this follows our main character, Jason Zhao, who is kind of like a criminal, and he is trying to infiltrate this company, poisoning the air supply in this futuristic version of Taipei. And in this world, the very wealthy kind of are able to purchase these suits to breathe because the air is so poisonous and people are dying because the air is such poor quality, and obviously the people who don't have a lot of money aren't able to purchase these suits and are slowly dying off. So Jason Zhao kind of finds out, very early on that this company that actually manufactures the suits might be responsible for poisoning the air, and he tries to infiltrate this company, and in the process ends up kind of falling for the daughter of the CEO for this company, and I really ended up loving this book. I mean, the entire cast is diverse. Like, the author is Asian, and she incorporates a lot of different Asian culture within it and distinguishes between all of the different kind of region. Really enjoyed it. They're not just lumped into just one big group of people, but are distinguished between different cultures and different languages, and even with the differences in their features and how they dress and everything. And I really loved the fact that this entire cast was diverse. Really ended up loving it. It was very fast-paced, it was very easy to read, and I'm really excited. I believe this is the first book in a series. I don't know how long the series is going to be, but it's definitely a book that I feel like if you like YA sci-fi, you're really going to enjoy this one. I feel like not a lot of people have talked about this book on BookTube since it was released last year, but I really ended up loving it, and I'm glad I finally ended up getting to it. I ended up giving Want by Cindy Pan a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then I read The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I've already done a full spoiler-free review on this one, which I will link down below so you guys can check out more of my in-depth thoughts on it. But this was beautiful. This is a book written in verse. I really ended up loving it. It follows our main character, Xiomara, who is Dominican, and it's just like her discovering slam poetry, figuring out her life, kind of dealing with her mom's strong religious beliefs. I really loved this one. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Yes. And after that, I read somewhat of a very controversial book here on BookTube, and that was Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. Now, I'm going to leave a video linked down below from Francina Simone, who reviewed this book and did a discussion and everything on this one, because when this book first came out, there were so many big things about racism and racial discrimination and stuff going on about this book, and I believe she did a very amazing job at highlighting a lot of the problems that were within this book, or a lot of the problems that people thought were in this book and were actually misconceptions about it. Like, when I picked up this book, I was clearly looking for all of these kind of racial misconceptions and prejudices and things, and I didn't see them. Like, it was very hard for me to see any kind of racial discriminations. I mean, I believe that original review that kind of sparked all of this talk was basing it on the fact that these two cultures that were warring against each other, one of them were all dark-skinned and the other was all light-skinned, and that's not true. Like, I'm reading through this book, and I'm seeing that they're both people of dark and light skin within both of these cultures. So that alone just kind of like, alright, it made me question kind of where this information came from, where the whole racism like discussion came from within this book. And I didn't see it. I couldn't find it, and I loved the fact that I was able to find Francina Simone's review on this book, and she also ended up kind of touching upon a lot of these misconceptions that were thrown on this book before it came out. And again, it was something that I started questioning. I was like, maybe it wasn't in the final book, because I read a final version, and apparently a lot of the other booktubers that had reviewed this book all were reading arcs. Maybe they changed things between then and here. I have no idea. I mean, there was a whole thing about the whole line about colored aggressor, which I didn't see. I don't know. Maybe I completely missed it, but nowhere in this book did I see the line colored aggressor at all. I don't know, but I just ended up really, really loving this book. For those of you who don't know, this is a YA sci-fi that is dual perspective, and it revolves around these two warring civilizations, and they kind of have these things going on within this world. There's something called the current, which kind of gives gifts to different people. People are able to kind of see the future. Other people kind of have gifts that they don't want. Other people kind of take advantage of gifts and of different fates. The book revolves a lot around kind of the gifts that the current gives you, and then what your fates are, and how you're not able to change them at all, and they're kind of set in stone. I really, really loved this one. I mean, I loved the two main characters. I loved their dynamic and kind of their different stories and how they ended up kind of converging. I really, really enjoyed this one. I liked the world. I mean, again, I don't know. I went into this one so terrified of reading it because it had gotten so many negative reviews and so many negative things that were revolving around it, but I still wanted to read it because I liked the Divergent series by Veronica Roth, so I was curious before this one came out, and I was really excited. And once all of these things started kind of circling around this book, I kind of kind of tried to keep away from it, and then I read it, and I really, really loved it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just me. Again, check out Francina Simone's video if you guys want more insight on the whole thing. But I just didn't see the whole racist kind of discussion that was going on within this book when I read it. Then after that, I finally finished Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I started listening to this on audiobook like way at the beginning of the year, and then the book kept getting due back at the library, and I kept having to put myself on a wait list to finally go back. And then I just gave up at the end. In the last kind of 150 pages or so, I just sat down and read the book because I didn't want to keep waiting for the audiobook. But I really love this one. I don't really have to get into too much detail on this book because I feel like a lot of people here know about this book when it first came out. It's somewhat of a fan fiction-y type Harry Potter, as if Harry were to fall in love with Draco and kind of all the things that happen and everything. I really enjoyed this one. I love Rainbow Rowell's writing. I love her characters. I just really, really ended up loving this book. I ended up giving it a 4.5 or 4 out of 5 stars or so. I think Attachments right now is the only Rainbow Rowell book that I haven't read, but this was the last book of Rainbow Rowell's that I own and that I hadn't read. I still don't own Attachments, but I want to eventually get to that one. But really, again, enjoyed this one. I feel like Rainbow Rowell did a great job at fantasy itself too, because this was her first venture into fantasy. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really, really good. And then the last book that I ended up finishing for fun within May was Shadow Crown by Kristen Martin. This is another book that I started many, many months ago. I believe this book came out sometime in October of last year, and I started reading it immediately, and then school started, and it just got crazy between last semester and everything and the semester before that, and I just couldn't pick it up for some reason. I lost a little bit of interest in it too because I had gotten so busy. But I finally ended up finishing this one, and I really enjoyed where everything went. This is the first book in Kristen Martin's new kind of YA dark fantasy series that follows our main character, Arden, who is an assassin, and she kind of ends up getting involved in a mission that goes wrong, and then a lot of things end up kind of happening from there. She has to escape this kind of group that she's in, and ends up kind of finding this other group of people that have these special abilities that have been kind of banned from this world. And yes, it's really fun, really fast paced. I loved all the different multiple perspectives. It kind of feels a little bit like Game of Thrones, but not really. But I still really enjoyed this one. I feel like it's definitely an improvement from Kristen Martin's first series as far as world building and everything goes. And I really enjoyed this one. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars or so. I'm really excited to kind of see where the rest of this series ended up going, because I believe it's going to be like a 6 or 7 book series or something. But yeah, really, really fun, really enjoyable. I really enjoyed this world and these characters. Yeah, guys, I think that is everything. I went on Goodreads today and ended up kind of like checking what I had read for fun, and like Goodreads is having problems with their app or their website, and I don't remember all of the other books that I ended up reading for fun, but I believe this is everything outside of school readings. I believe these were the ones that I was able to manage to finish between January and May. So yeah, that's it. Comment down below, let me know if you guys have read any of these, what your favorite books were for the month and everything. If you guys have any recommendations, I would love to hear them. Thank you guys all again for watching, and I will see you all next time.